Okay, so good afternoon to all of you. Because of the technical reasons of the laptop, we couldn't start in time, somewhat later than the timing schedule. Last class, we have discussed about, in part one, we have discussed about prevention of occupational disease, in which we have seen medical measures as well as engineering measures. Okay, so today we are going to see about ESI Act and Factory Act, ESI scheme rather, and Factory Act. What are the medical measures that you remember? Medical measures for prevention of occupational disease. Tell me the medical measures for prevention of occupational disease. Write down in chat box. What are the medical measures for prevention of occupational disease? Which medical measures do you remember? Write down in chat box. Yes, I am waiting for your reply. Which medical measures do you remember for prevention of occupational disease? No reply from your side. Engineering measures, medical or engineering measures, whatever you remember, write down in chat box. What medical or engineering measures for prevention of occupational disease you remember, write down in chat box. Meanwhile, I am starting the class, right? So here in that part, Factory Act as well as ESI Act, that can be asked separately as short note. Both of these, Factory Act and ESI Act, that can be asked separately as the short note. So you need to remember them. Just select the different highlighter. So factory law or Factory Act, it is for prevention of occupational disease. It is to govern the condition in the industry. It monitor, supervise the condition. This a law that have set certain norms. So it can govern the condition which is beneficial to the workers as well as ultimately beneficial to the factory owner. If the health of the worker is in good condition, then there will be more productivity and ultimately that will be beneficial to the promoter of the industry, promoter of the company, right? And to safeguard the health and welfare of the worker. So safety, right? To maintain the safety, to maintain the health, and to maintain the welfare of the worker, this Factory Act was established in 1948. This is known as Factories Act 1948. It was initially introduced in 1881, right? And it has been revised and amended several times. Revisions and amendment. Amendment means new addition or deletion, right? That is amendment. And came into force from 1st April 1949, right? So since about 70 years, we can say that this Factory Act is existing. Latest amendment was in 1987, and this act applies to the whole India except Jammu and Kashmir as per the previous constitution. I think that it can be also amendment after this application of the Article 370, because Jammu and Kashmir now no longer they are the state, right? So after Article 370, I mean this may be also added to this part of the country, right? So let me check who have answered. I was, yes, only one student. Yes, so other student also. Health education, counseling, medical services, periodic examination is one word. Yes, periodic examination of the worker is necessary. And before periodic examination, one examination, medical examination is there. I have told you that at the time of the entry of worker in industry, at the time of entry in job, that examination is called what? Write down in chat box. Apart from this, what are the engineering measures? My question was medical measures as well as engineering measures for prevention of the occupational disease, that you can write down in chat box. So definition of factory, according to Factory Act 1948, definition of factory is any establishment which is employing 10 or more workers, where power is used or 20 or more workers where power is not used. That is called factory. Again, I repeat, establishment where which is employing 10 or more workers where power is used, or 20 or more workers where power is not used. If power is not used, then workers number will be more. Right? It is called as factory. So here in Factory Act, there are who manages this Factory Act, right? There are some inspectors, right? Who look after this Factory Act. So the chief inspector of the factories, there is additional chief inspector, joint inspector, deputy chief inspector. There are safety officer, 1,000 or more worker, one safety officer for each 1,000 worker, one safety officer for each 1,000 workers. These are and welfare officer for 500 or more workers. This is the staff pattern of where Factory Act is applicable, right? Okay, so my question, who has replied that engineering measure? Yes, pre-placement examination, very good. Medical examination, pre-employment or pre-placement examination, then design of building, good ventilation. Okay, apart from this, there are so many engineering measures. Suppose a noise industry is there, noise producing machineries are operating. How can you content this noise? For that, which measure is important? Which engineering measure is important? I have told you in last class, in part 1 also. So provisions of Factory Act, health provisions and safety provisions. In health provisions, cleanliness, first and foremost important part. In part 1, we have also discussed cleanliness will provide the easy working, good condition of the working, hygienic condition of the working, and so that there can be prevention of the communicable diseases. Proper lighting and ventilation is necessary for avoidance of the accidents, right? So workers who are working, there should be proper ventilated, proper light. So good ventilations gives good respiratory condition, and so that workers health is maintained. Good lighting will prevent accidents. Medical facilities are also provided under the provisions of the Factory Act. Safety, and for safety, treatment of the waste and effluent. In industry, you know that so many effluent waste are generated. That should be properly treated before disposing them, right? Elimination of the dust and fume, provision of the spit tunes, right? So many workers have the habit of tobacco chewing. So spit tunes should be provided, right? Control of the temperature, supply of the cool drinking water. And not only during the summer, but throughout the year, right? For good wholesome, at least if it's not cool in other season, then it should be wholesome water, safe and wholesome water. So points should be provided for drinking purpose. Employment of the cleaner, sorry, it has changed. Employment of the cleaner, minimum, yes, this is important. It can be asked in MCQ also. Minimum 500 cubic feet space for each worker. It is the norm under Factory Act. This can be asked in your pre-PG examination MCQ also, right? Prescribed, it also Factory Act also prescribe the precautions for the safety of the worker, right? Safety provision, casting of the new machinery. Right? I have given the example in previous part 1 that in one movie, which is casted by Amitabh Bachchan. I think Coolie is there, or if you remember that movie, because of the old machinery, there was an accident, right? And that employees have urged for the bringing new machineries, right? So new machineries should be always casted. Device for cutting of the power. If in case of the, you know that we are using stabilizer, right? So in case of the excess power, that stabilizer maintain the power which is required, electricity which is required. Hoists and lifts, cranes and lifting devices, these are the devices which are useful for lifting luggages, for lifting various large portions, large raw material which is transported from one part of the factory to other part, right? Lifts, hoists, cranes. Protection of eye, so eye shields, proper eye shields in form of the proper goggles, right? They should be also provided. These are under the safety provision. Precaution against dangerous fumes, right? Giving proper mask, explosive and inflammatory material. So all the safety equipment, health and safety equipment, we can call personal protective equipment, right? PPE word, you are hearing this word nowadays frequently, PPE for avoidance of the infection. But here the PPE are different for workers who are working in industry. And this PPE include helmet, safety goggles, earbud, ear plug, as well as gum boot, safety shoes. So this safety provisions, health and safety equipment should be also provided, and which is under the provision of the Factory Act. Restriction of the weight to be carried by worker, right? Specific welfare measures, washing facilities, right? Facility for storing and drying the clothes. So the workers who are working, they may, that there can be some uniform. So whatever the clothes they have brought from they want from the home, that should be stored at proper place, right? Facility for shitting of the worker, right? First aid appliance should be always there. See, these are what we are going through. These are the norms under Factory Act. Under Factory Act has they have laid down some certain norms under which the facilities should be provided to the workers who are working in factory. Shelters, restroom, lunch rooms, right? So Factory Act has said that first aid appliances, shelters, right, restrooms, lunch rooms should be provided for the worker. Canteen for more than 250 workers. Whenever in industry, if more than 250 workers are working, so canteen should be provided, right? Crutches for more than 30 women worker, for to look after their child, right? So crutches should be provided in the factory where more than 30 women worker are working. So if you visit the factory and if you remember the norms which are laid down by the Factory Act, so you can keep the checklist of this and see how much of these facilities are existing in any factory. There are special norms for the employment of the women as well as young persons, sir. So no employment for child below 14 years. We already know this. Below 14 years, child should not be employed because this is the age for study, right? So each and every child should be in school under the 14 years of age, and just accepting the condition of this corona, online school. Rather, we can say online school right now. Adolescent employee 15 to 18 years, certified by certifying surgeon, should regarding their fitness of the work. So who are adolescent, right? 15 to 18 years, they should be only given the work after having proper certification from the surgeon, right, regarding the fitness. And their working hours should be between 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. After 7 p.m., they should not be employed. Working hours total for all the adult worker, weekly hours maximum 48 hour. Weekly, according to Factory Act, any worker should work only maximum up to 48 hours. So that is less than 9 hours per day, right? Per day, less than 9 hours. And for adolescent, only 4 to 5 hours per day. This is for adult. 9 hours, less than 9 hours per day. And adolescent, 4 to 5 hours per day. So these things can be asked in MCQ also. There is a list of notifiable disease under the Notifiable Act 1976. So occupational disease which are notifiable, which should be notified to the health authority, are bicyanosis, asbestosis, occupational dermatitis, noise induced hearing loss, right, and ergonomic problem. This all should be notified to the proper health authority according to the these occupational diseases are there, right? So in this notifiable disease, apart from this, in case of the fatal accident, the accident which is causing death, inquiry is held in case of the fatal accident. You know that in case of the diseases like corona or like other notifiable diseases which is causing the health problem, death audit is being carried out. In maternal death also, maternal death review is being carried out. Here also, in case of the occupational disease which cause fatal accident, injury which cause fatal accident, so here also death audit is carried out. Now that was all about Factory Act. Now ESI scheme or ESI Act. So the ESI, Employed State Insurance, right? Employed State Insurance Act 1948. It provided the conceptual breakthrough in the development of that was the major breakthrough, right? That was the major development. Breakthrough means major development in the social security scheme. So this is regarded as the social security scheme. Factory Act is legislative act, right? And this ESI scheme, that is a scheme, right? It is social security scheme. Social security means it provides some social as well as medical and economic benefit, right? So it is the country's largest worker health program, welfare program. In terms of geographical reach, it is the more reach. It is reach all throughout the country. Demographic coverage, it is more coverage, right? Demographic, more people are covered, and multifaceted services. There are so many benefits: medical benefit, sickness benefit, extended sickness benefit, right? That funeral benefit that we are going to see under this act. So there are so many benefits, so multifaceted services, right? It covers so many workers, so largest demographic reach and major geographical reach. So that is the largest worker health social security scheme. Infrastructure for ESIS for day-to-day administration. You know that for any scheme or any program, we require infrastructure, and it has the central headquarters at Delhi. There are regional offices, sub-regional offices in states, and there are over 800 branch offices at different centers throughout the country. But you can remember that headquarter is in Delhi, it is in capital, right? The medical care under the scheme is administered by state government. You know that the state is responsible for the health. One sentence is there: health is the responsibility of the subject matter of the state. Health is subject matter of state. So medical care is provided under the state government, except in few states like in Delhi and Noida area of the UP, medical facility is provided by corporation, right? So while in other state it is provided by state itself, with a view to provide facility early detection of the occupational disease among ESI beneficiaries. So the workers who are working in industry, they are the ESI beneficiaries. ESI Corporation has set 5 zone, right? Occupied zonal occupational disease center at Kolkata, Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Nagda, right? And it is also setting up another occupational disease center at Pune, right? In Pune, Chinchwad, Pune. The zonal occupational disease center cater to the need of ESI beneficiaries neighboring to the state also, right? Coverage under the Act, ESI Act, it can be asked in MCQ also. First, initially the Act was originally applicable to only non-seasonal factories, which is using power and employing 20 or more person. That was initial, right? Then it has been extended that it is applicable now to non-seasonal power using factory employing 10 or more person, and non-power using factory employing 20 or more person. Remember the difference. Initially both power using factory and having more number of the person, 20. Now non-power using factory and 20 or more, and power using 10 or more. That is according to the definition of the factory, right? Further, it has also covered, probably that slide is missing, I think, that has also covered newspaper agencies, hotel, restaurant, right? So apart from the factory, other agencies, other categories of the business where 20 or more workers are employed, newspaper agency, hotel business, restaurant, right? That is also covered under the ESI Act. Coverage under the Act, under section 1(5), there are, so see in Act there are sections, right, and subsections. So under section 1(5) of the Act, the scheme is extended to, that is, shops, hotel, restaurant, cinema, right, including the preview theater, road motor transport, newspaper establishment agency employing 20 or more person, what I have said you earlier. The existing wage limit for the coverage is 7,500 per month. This is wrong. This is not according to 2004. Okay, that has been now extended to, actually that was 7,500. It is extended now to 21,000. So remember this. Existing wage coverage is 21,000 per month. That was coverage at a glance, not need to see it. ESI Corporation. And you know that we have ESI Corporation in Delhi, right? So represent here the representative of the central, state government, employer, employee, and medical profession and parliament. These are there in ESI Corporation. There is also one chairman who is the Minister of the Labor, right? Vice chairman is the secretary of the government of the Indian ministry. So whoever is the Minister of the Labor is the chairman of ESI Corporation. Whoever is the secretary to the government of the Indian Ministry of the Labor is the vice chairman, right? This may be the old name, right? There is insurance commissioner, actuary, medical commissioner, financial commissioner, right? So this is the staff pattern of the ESI corporation. So employee state insurance scheme is administered by the corporate body called ESI corporation, right? Corporation is the highest policy making and decision making. So in case of the ESI, corporation makes the policy as well as decision under the ESI Act. Yes, now this part is very much important. You need to remember, must remember that part. So in any scheme, you know that there are insurance schemes. This is like just like some insurance scheme. For getting insurance, you have to pay premium, right? You know that for getting insurance, you have to pay premium. So how much contribution of the premium is there? That is given here. So both employee as well as employer. So the workers who are working are called employee and the owner is called employer. So employer pays 4.75% of the wages of the worker, right? 4.75% of the wages to worker as a contribution, and 1.75% is paid only by employee. So scheme is primarily funded by contribution raised from the employee. Employee are called insured employee. They are insured, right? Because they are. So if we buy insurance policy now, then we are called as insured person, right? Suppose we are buying insurance policy, medical policy, so we are called as now insured person. There is one from insurance policy. I remember that for Corona special, there are plan. Corona Rakshak plan is the best plan. Corona Rakshak plan is available, which is given, which is for 3.5 months, 4.5, for 6.5 months, and 9.5 months, right? And here lump sum benefit up to 2.5 lakh is paid to the person who is corona positive and remaining in the hospital for 72 hours, right? Minimum 72 hours lump sum benefit. If you have purchased plan for 2.5 lakh, maximum is 2.5 lakh, then it is paid regardless of the bill. So search for that, and it is very good corona Rakshak policy. Employees contribution and employer contribution, we are talking about this ESI plan, not this corona Rakshak, right? So ESI employees contribution 1.75%, employer is 4.75%, right? And in this state government also contribute to 12.5% of the expenditure. The ratio of the state government to central government contribution is 1:7. State government contributes one part of the finance, and central government contributes 7 part of the finance, right? 1:7. Administration for ESI scheme members who are administrating employer, employee, state government, right? Medical professional, parliament, they are in the part of the administration of the ESI Act. There is also one standing committee. You know that in corporation there is standing committee. Here standing is misnomer. The members are not always standing, but it is called a standing committee, which is constituted from among the member of the corporation, right, who acts as an executive body for the administration of the scheme, right? There is also medical benefit council, right? So coverage, that is, these are some old data, but you can see that 2.54 lakh employers were covered, and there are 687 centers for ESI. Insured person are about 80 lakh, about 79 lakh, we can say. 32 regional offices. All according to all data, all the states are covered, right? ESI hospital maybe more than this, right? So what are the benefits? This is important. Benefits of the ESI: medical benefit, sickness benefit, maternity benefit, disablement benefit, dependent and other benefits, right? So first of all, medical benefit. Employee state insurance scheme provide full medical care in form of the medical attendance, treatment, drugs, injections, specialist consultation, and hospitalization to the insured person. So the workers who are insured under the ESI scheme, they are being provided all the range of the medical benefit through the ESI clinic as well as ESI hospitals. In Rajkot, there is ESI hospital, right? In Bhavnagar also there is ESI hospital, Ahmedabad. So in this cities, bigger cities, there are ESI hospitals, right? In smaller town, there are ESI clinic. So the For the family, benefit has been divided into two categories: full medical care and expanded medical care. This consists of the hospitalization facility. We have already told you specialist services, drugs, dressings, diet as per required, right? In inpatient care. Expanded medical care, here this consists of the consultation with the specialist and supply of the medical, special medicine and drug which is provided, prescribed by them. Also include laboratory test and X-ray examination. Apart from the curative services which is provided through hospitals and dispensaries, the corporation also provide the preventive services, or whether we can say welfare services, and among them immunization is the major service. So corporation has embarked upon the massive program of the immunization for the young children of the insured person. So immunization, you know very well that it has been also provided through our state health system, through PSCs, CSCs, through our hospitals, through urban health center, and ESI hospitals and ESI dispensaries also provide the immunization against the vaccine preventable diseases like diphtheria, pertussis, polio, tetanus, measles, rubella, tuberculosis. All the diseases which are there under our universal immunization program, they are covered for immunization. Family welfare services, along with this, it provides the services for the family welfare services. It provide antenatal services, right, postnatal services through the centers. Supply of the special aids, right? This is not disease. Aids means equipment, right? Aids. So insured person and member of the family are provided artificial limb. This is example of the special aid. The material which helps in day-to-day living in case of the disability, like hearing aids, right? Artificial appliances like spinal supports, cervical collar, right? You may have seen that some persons are wearing that collar while sitting in the bus or maybe in the in office also, right? Cervical collar, the who have the problem of the cervical vertebral column, slip disc or like that, right? Walking caliper, crutches, wheelchair, right? Cardiac pacemaker. So these are called the special aid that is also provided under the ESI scheme, right? So that was about medical benefit. Then sickness benefit. It represents the periodic case payment. Periodic case payment to the insured person. Here IP is insured person. IP is there also in case of the tuberculosis intensive phase, right? So not 50%. Now it has been modified. 90% of the average daily wage. Remember, in sickness benefit, 90% of the average daily wages, 90% of the average daily wages is provided for up to 91 days. Up to 91 days during, remove this, during 365 days, right? Continuous 365 days. So if the from January to December, for continuous 19 days, from January to December, it includes 365 days, right? For any continuous period of the 91 days, 90% of the average daily wage. Suppose average daily wage is 100 rupees, then 90 rupees per day it is provided to the worker if worker is suffering from the sickness which is in prescribed certificate, right? It should require the prescribed certificate from the physician. Then extended sickness benefit, right? Extended sickness benefit, insured person suffering from the long-term disease, right? If they are experiencing hardship on expiry of the 91 days, the sickness benefit is extended, right? Hence, a provision for paying the sickness benefit for extended period of the 2 years. Remember, in sickness, simple sickness benefit, it is provided for 91 days, but it can be extended for 2 years in case of the long-term disease, right? So here there is list of certain 34 diseases which are covered under extended sickness benefit. I will not be going through all the diseases, just generally tuberculosis, leprosy, AIDS, right? Malignant diseases, endocrine disease, diabetes, with DM, not simple DM with retinopathy or diabetic foot or nephropathy, right? Then disorder of the nervous system, including paralysis, intracranial space occupying lesions, spinal cord compression, Parkinson's, immature cataract with vision of less than 6/60, detachment or retinal detachment, glaucoma, coronary artery disease, unstable angina, MI, right? CHF, valvular diseases, cardiomyopathy, bronchiectasis, COPD with corpulmonale. So all the severe diseases in which there is long-term suffering, in which extended sickness benefit is provided, that is right? Cirrhosis of the liver, dislocation of the vertebrae, non-union or delayed union of the fracture, compounded fracture, right? Schizophrenia, dementia. This is the list of disease. More than 20% born with infection, chronic renal failure, right? Then enhanced sickness benefit. Insured person eligible to ordinary sickness are paid enhancement of the sickness benefit at double the rate, right? Almost full average daily wage of the for undergoing sterilization operation for family welfare. Right? In case of the sterilization operation, enhanced sickness benefit, full daily wage is provided. Right? So we have covered medical benefits, sickness benefit, now maternity benefit. Maternity benefit include the periodic cash payment in case of the confinement, right? 5,000 per confinement, or in case of the miscarriage or sickness arising out of the pregnancy. So in confinement, miscarriage, abortion, or sickness which is arising out of the pregnancy, in which maternity benefit is provided, right? So here it is payable for, now it has been updated, 26 week of the pregnancy, right? Wages are provided for 26 week of the pregnancy, right? Confinement, premature birth of the child, miscarriage to an insured woman is certified by, it should be certified by medical officer or midwife, right? Miscarriage or medical termination of the pregnancy payable for 6 weeks, right? Then temporary disability benefit. So we have covered medical benefit, sickness benefit, extended sickness benefit now, and maternity benefit. Now temporary disability. You know that because of the disease there can be disability. Disability which may be temporary or which may be permanent. So temporary disability benefit is payable to employee who suffers from the employment injury. Suppose disability is temporary. Suppose there is fracture, then disability is there. It may be temporary. Once the fracture is repaired, then this disability may not be seen more longer, or because of the occupational disease, right? So this employment injury has been defined under the section 2(8) of the Act as a personal injury to an employee caused by accident or occupational disease arising out of or in course of this employment, right, being an insurable employment, whether the accidents occur or occupational disease is contracted within or outside the territorial limits of the India. Right? So it is some long definition is there under this employment injury. Certificate required for temporary disability benefit, accident report in form 16. So these are the numbers which is given to different form, right? Form 8, 10, 9, 10, 11, right? And ESIC medical form 13. So these are the numbers, right? So no need to remember the number. Different certificates are required. Right? Eligibility for this temporary disability benefit is not subjected to any contributory condition. An insured person is eligible from the day he joins the insurable employment. Right? Temporary disability benefit, just forget about this. 90% here also, 90%, remember this word 90%, this number 90% of the total wages are provided in TBD also. Duration, no prescribed limit up to which that is temporary disability benefit is provided, as long as that this disability lasts. This 90% total wages is provided to the worker as long as this temporary disablement lasts and significant improvement is possible, right? Dependent benefit. So under this ESI scheme, the dependence benefit is payable to the dependent person as per section 52 of the Act, right? So dependent minimum rate of dependent is not 14. It has been also revised somewhere around 90. I think it is 90 to the per day. So that was all about the ESI scheme as well as Factory Act. Okay, summarize. Write down in chat box which benefits do you remember. Yes, one student is updated that contribution of the employer is reduced from 4.75 to 3.25, and employee from 1.75 to 0.75. Actually, I have not come across. I have recently taken the data from the recent MCQ books. It is same 4.75 and 1.75. If you have the reference, you can send me that where the contribution has been reduced. It is written. You may be right also. Okay, what are the benefits of this ESI scheme? Write down in chat box. We have gone through different benefits of the ESI scheme. Write down in chat box what are the benefits. Just enlist the benefits under this ESI scheme. We have recently discussed about ESI scheme. What are the benefits? Just enlist the names of the benefit under ESI scheme. Yes, medical benefit, sickness benefit, maternity benefit. Then which other benefits? 2, 3 more remaining. Okay, very good. Maternity benefit, dependent benefit, temporary disability benefit. Right, very good. There is one more thing, the funeral benefit, right? And the insured worker, if it dies, if any family member dies, then funeral benefit up to 1,000 rupees is given for the funeral process. Any other benefit do you remember? What is the year of Factory Act? Year of Factory Act. Year of Factory Act. And minimum, how much space is required for worker working in industry? Minimum, how much space? Two question. Yes, 1948. Minimum, how much space is required for the workers working in factory? Yes, another question now. How much minimum, how much space is required for the worker? 500 cubic feet space. Okay. Under Factory Act, which facilities should be provided to the worker? Yes, another question. Under Factory Act, which facilities should be provided to the workers working in factory? Second question simultaneously. There should be canteen for, and the canteen should be for how many workers? Minimum how many workers working in factory? Canteen should be there for how many, minimum how many workers working in factory? And two questions I have asked. What are the benefits or what are the facilities provided to the worker as well as their family under Factory Act? Second question, for minimum, yes, 250. For minimum 250 workers, there should be canteen. What are the, enlist the benefits or enlist the facilities which are provided to the worker under Factory Act? Canteen for more than 250, that is correct. Then which are other facilities? Facilities provided under Factory Act. I've given the example canteen. Second example, crutch for minimum how many women? Yes, washing facilities, canteen, crutch for minimum 30 women, 30 women or 50 employee. Very good. You have updated this, and 30 women or 50 employee. Which other facilities are there under Factory Act? Washing facilities, storing and drying clothes. Very good. Okay, 30, that is for women, 30 women for crutches. Which other facilities? Restroom, okay. Other facilities. Remember day-to-day activity, and for accordingly facilities you can remember. Appliances, shelter, lunchroom. Very good. Okay, so we will end here. That was all about two parts of prevention of the occupational diseases, right? Prevention of occupational disease. In first part, we have seen these medical measures. In engineering measures, you have not replied that replacement, engineering methods like replacement. So the machinery which is old, it should be replaced by new machineries. Machinery which is causing more noise, it should be replaced by the new machinery which is causing nil noise, right? Then there should be enclosure. So the noise producing part should be enclosed. It should be enclosed. I have given the example in part one that look in our household, which we are using grinding machine for cereals and pulses, grinding automatic grinding machine. So it is enclosed because you know that the dust from the grinding is generated, right? This process happens in the closed chamber. Like in case of the industry also, enclosure will prevent noise as well as it will prevent the dust, right? So enclosure, replacement, these are the engineering methods for prevention of occupational diseases. Okay, thank you very much. We will end here.